guys got into office without that man nodding his head and saying, yes, he's going in. In a couple of cases, it's utterly explicit. Jimmy Carter was practically lifted up like this and dropped into the White House by Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski. But all of these men, Gerald Ford also had very intimate, close relationships. And so, and really, lest you doubt that U.S. policy, or really any national policy of any nation, is dominated to benefit certain elite interests, take a look at the war in Iraq right now. And it's really not my intention to go off on a rant on this. I could, but I won't. But I will point out to you that the estimate, the monetary estimate of the value of the oil in Iraq is something along the lines of $30 trillion. It's a lot of money. You know, back in the bad old days of Saddam, that oil was owned by the state of Iraq. And which meant, of course, that Saddam and his evil sons could skim and live like kings, which they did. But it also meant that that oil paid for that nation's infrastructure. Well, starting in 05, 06, 07, the fire sale of Iraqi oil began. It's all been gobbled up by multinationals now. And a real kick in the teeth, by the way, from an American taxpayer point of view, is that the companies that have bought the lion's share of oil in Iraq are not even U.S. companies. The largest one is Indonesian. There's Chinese and Turkish and so forth. And so really what you have, lest you ever doubt this, which I'm sure most of you do not, is a situation where the United States military really is little more, I would say, than the police force and the security force for international financial elites, to give them the stuff and the goods that they want, which is control over the global resources, oil, water, and on and on. And that's really what it's all about. And incidentally, I would recommend you read, if you haven't, become familiar with a great, great book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, by John Perkins from 2004. John Perkins was an economic hitman. In other words, one of these financial whiz guys working for private groups that siphon money out of various national treasuries. This is what they do. It's all about theft and money on a grand scale and control over, again, the natural resources of the world. So, okay, a little bit of background then on privatization. So let's go back to the